Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. Why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's what we have here,
This is wrong. To violate your own rules without going by the mandates of the parliamentarian. This is unbelievable. There's a way to do this. If you want to force this through, if you want to ram this through, there's a way to do it in accordance to the rules as spelled out by the parliamentarian. It is simple. It is clear. There's a pathway to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
I am Spartacus.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all of these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down, Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% were Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
How much of this can I take? My friends, welcome. It is the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. Spartacus drama continued today. He's such a drama mama. Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker once again having a Spartacus moment. That, and then of course there's the Epstein stuff that just won't go away. There are more questions about that today. Welcome indeed to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. The Senate Judiciary Committee today advanced the nomination of Emil Bove, President Trump's former defense lawyer, top Justice Department official, to serve as a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. That is what led to the Cory Booker meltdown today. What the Democrats wanted to do was just bring somebody in, this whistleblower, to smear him. Now, come on, any of you that have watched judicial nominations, Supreme Court or otherwise, know the Democrat playbook. Find somebody to dirty up the to dirty up the nominee, to smear him with all kind of stuff. In this case, they got this so-called whistleblower who said that Bove pretty much stuck his middle finger up at the court and was saying that Trump ought to just tell the courts to go F off when it comes to these, district courts trying to block him under the Alien Sedition Act, the Wartime Aliens Enemies Act. And they wanted to bring this guy in, Ruvini or something like that, Ruvini. He wrote a report that during one meeting, Trump's proclamation invoking the Wartime Alien Enemies Act, that Mr. Bove said that the Justice Department would need to consider telling the courts F you if a judicial order blocked removals under the law. So Democrats wanted to bring this guy in to dirty up the nomination. Also, by the way, Jeanette, I'm just having a block. She was nominated too. And the nominations went through. Okay, so that's what happened. But Cory Booker, and of course that woman, that dreadful senator from Hawaii, having cows, let's just quickly go after all the Democrats got up, walked out, had their little hissy fit. Wham, 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 wham. We couldn't smear them up. Wham, 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 wham. So very quickly, I don't even know whether we'll listen to the whole thing. Cut 17, Booker, and then cut 18, Mazie Hirono. Just let's fire them all. Hit it.
I just walked out of the Senate Judiciary Committee for what was... to me, the most unimaginable thing that happened, where they cut off any debate or any discussion. Our job is to deliberate. Our job as the most deliberative body is to hear from each other. They cut off all debate, rammed through.
They cut off the smear.
People walked out as I sat there continuing to appeal to the conscience of my fellow senators.
Yeah. Enough of him already. I'm done. Let's hear Hirono whine.
I'm still steaming. You could see the smoke coming out of my head. I wish you could, because I just walked out along with the Democratic members of the Judiciary Committee, where we were basically totally ignored in expressing our concerns about one of the Trump nominees for a lifetime appointment to court. His name is Bovee, and he is a complete loyalist to Trump, has nothing else going for him, basically, except that. He is a very dangerous person. So we wanted to express our concerns and to say, Mr. Chairman, don't ignore the rules of our own committee. Let us all speak. That is how this committee has always conducted itself. But those days apparently are gone. And so that's how we've always conducted ourselves. We've always been able to smear. There are enough of her. We've always been able to smear the Republicans. And Chuck Grassley didn't let us do it today. And so, the Republicans are evil. They're so mean. They're violating the rules. They wouldn't let us smear and try to dirty up one of Trump's. He's a loyalist, Bovee. He's a loyalist to Trump. Democrats. Jeanette Pirro. Was the other, and the votes were passed. There were a bunch of judges. They just wanted to roll through them the same way Biden rolled through them. Democrats do in their own office. They just go ahead and just vote. It's like a vote-a-rama. There are always these stunts from Democrats. I'm not going to waste any more time with it because the stunt didn't work. And so you get the drama. There is other news out here. Of course, you know by now that the PBS and NPR have been defunded, at least for a year. The GOP Senate has voted to cancel $9 billion in funding for foreign aid. I had a discussion with a very dear friend of mine yesterday about foreign aid. And I didn't put it in the soundbite roster today. There was a Wolf Blitzer, I think it was, or somebody on CNN interviewing somebody else claiming that 14 million people are going to die because U.S. aid is no longer sending money to certain places. And my reaction to that, look, I mean, everybody wants to do good and to do good things in the world. At the same time, you never hear from these same news sources how thoroughly corrupt USAID as an agency has been. In fact, John Kennedy Senator John Kennedy, let me see yes, we do have it. And we won't listen to all of this. And I'm sorry I'm cutting things off before they complete, folks. But we just have so much, and I want to get to it as much as possible. 24 is what you're looking for, Jonas. You got to follow along, because this is all stream of consciousness. I hadn't intended on doing this one yet. But John Kennedy spoke about these cuts and what some of the stuff USAID was doing. So you had the rescission bill yesterday. Senate signed on to it. It has to be voted on by the House by the end of business tomorrow. Otherwise, this is not going to happen. So it goes back to the House, and the whining and the moaning over PBS and NPR is laughable. $1 billion. And they're whining and moaning. It's the end of the world. Oh, America's facing such severe risk because we won't be able to get our alerts. If you have a phone, you know, these alerts are going to keep coming, just like spam calls will never stop, apparently.
But John Kennedy, Louisiana, was on the floor of the Senate, and this is what he was saying before the vote was taken.
I'm going to read you some of the appropriations that the president is asking us to eliminate from the current budget. And you be the judge. Let the American people decide. The president is asking us to eliminate $5.1 million of taxpayer money in the American budget and the federal budget that is there to, quote, strengthen the resilience of queer global movements. The president is asking us to rescind $6 million for media organizations and civic life for Palestinians. The president, in light of our $37 trillion budget deficit, is asking us to reduce a program in the amount of $3.9 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex population in the Western Balkans. The president is suggesting that we eliminate a program, $1 million for voter ID programs in Haiti.
Voter ID in Haiti?
Folks. The president is asking us to reduce the budget by $3 million, which is appropriated for, quote, sexual reproductive health in Venezuela. $3 million for circumcision, vasectomies, and condoms in Zambia. I didn't make this stuff up. It's in the budget. $3 million for Sesame Street in Iraq. $833,000 for transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia and Belarus. $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes, cyber cafes, and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti.
What
How many Americans, Mr. President, do you think we should be spending their money to fund male prostitutes in Haiti? But there it is in our budget, bigger than Dallas, and the president is saying, cut it out.
It's bigger than Dallas. So those are some of the things. Now, yes, there is food that is being cut, and I have, you hear about that. In fact, they're incinerating tons of food, I guess, so it doesn't spoil and, do what food does when it decomposes and spoils. It's a safety risk and a health hazard, actually. And so one of the major networks, and I'll find and play it tomorrow, they're making a really big deal about that, and it's so horrible. And, yeah, I have mixed feelings about that. But at the same time, USAID was a thoroughly corrupt department. And some of the aid responsibilities are now being shifted over to state. So it's not like we're stopping all aid. There is it's being vetted differently. Let's do this. Let's take a break because we have a lot to do. James Golden here. It is the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour.
Pretty little baby. Pretty little baby.
Connie Francis passed away, 87 years old. This was her big hit in 1962, Pretty Little Baby. And it went viral recently on TikTok. 17 million videos have been made, 27 billion views. So all of a sudden, Connie Francis had a late night hit again before she passed.
My wife made a video to her song.
To this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Oh, wow. That's awesome. Condolences to the family, of course, Connie Francis. James Golden, Snerdley, Don't go away. Coming back. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour continues.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm still steaming. If you could see the smoke coming out of my head, I wish you could, because I just walked out along with the Democratic members of the Judiciary Committee where
1965. King Records releases this one from the man that would later be called the Godfather of Soul, the hardest working man in show business, Soul Brother number one, James Brown. 2 million copies later, receives the Grammy Award for the best rhythm and blues recording. That's the segregation of the music industry. Put those people over there. Rhythm. They got rhythm, and they know how to sing the blues. Just saying. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have more. There is a, and I want to play a soundbite when we get back from our next break that I'm weighing long and hard. I weigh long and hard whether I should do this, because this might require a longer explanation for me than I have time to do. But it ties in with this story in a way. The Justice Department is now asking a 1-day sentence for the ex-police officer convicted in the Breonna Taylor raid. Now, Breonna Taylor, as you may know, we may remember, was killed in a drug raid that produced no drugs out of her house. She was an EMT worker. This officer fired shots blindly through her patio door window. Some went into a neighbor's apartment. He was put to trial multiple times on this, and Joe Biden's administration really wanted to go after him. Harmeet Dillon, I love Harmeet Dillon, but she's asking now for time served in 1 day, and this is going to cause some upset. And by the way, I don't agree with this decision, this 1 day plus time served. But this ties into a larger issue about how the Trump administration is being perceived by minorities in this country. And I'm going to try to tackle a little bit of that, maybe today, if we have some time. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
1967, my friends, on this day, one of the greatest musicians who ever lived passed away. John Coltrane, American jazz saxophonist. He changed everything. His playing, his knowledge of the instrument, and his experimentation into avant-garde. Nobody is like Coltrane, will be like Coltrane, except Coltrane. Passed away at age 40 on this day in 1967. Remembering the legendary John Coltrane. James Golden, Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. We are so pleased to have with us Michael Watley, who is the chairman of the Republican National Committee. Michael, how are you, Mr. Chairman?
I am doing really well. It is absolutely fantastic to have a president who is fighting for the American people and Congress who is delivering. And I think as a country, we are definitely going in the right direction.
Let me ask you about this. We have elections coming up. And, Chairman, I want to speak with you multiple times before the elections, but we have the off-year election coming up now. A lot of the focus is on New York with the socialist/communist that's running in that race and getting a lot of attention. But New Jersey has a major election coming up, too. And I would love it if you could just speak to that and tell us what's going on with that race.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm calling you from New Jersey. I actually am going to be doing a couple of events here to support Jack Ciattarelli, who is a change agent that New Jersey absolutely desperately needs. And we are going to be here, the GOP, with investments and participation in New Jersey, because this is so absolutely important for us. when you think about New Jersey right now, they've got the highest taxes in the country. They've got, the 49th out of 50 in terms of competitiveness anywhere in the country. The schools are failing. More than half the voters here, well more than half the voters, are saying that the state is headed in the wrong direction and that they need a major change. And Jack Ciattarelli is the guy who's going to be able to deliver that.
What do you look? Let me ask you, why is New Jersey even with everything that you just said about the electorate, their unhappiness? The taxes have been an issue for as long as I can remember. The schools, they have, I think, if I'm correct, New Jersey has more school districts than almost any state in this nation, and yet they're still failing in delivering quality education to a lot of the kids, particularly in the inner cities in New Jersey. Why is this even a competitive race?
New Jersey historically is definitely a blue state. There are more registered Democrats than there are Republicans in this state. And for you to win as a Republican, you really need to be able to break through and talk about the issues that, the voters care about. And that's really what Jack is bringing to the table. Mikey Sherrill has doubled down on the same failed policies that the Democrats lost on in 2024. She is an absolutely down-the-line Democrat voter. She supported President Biden and his agenda. She supports the woke agenda. She supports men and women's sports. She supports inflationary spending. She supports a weak America. And she is not going to be able to bring any change to the direction that the state is going in. So it really is an opportunity for Jack to kind of come through and have that conversation with the voters about the change that they're looking for. And he's going to win it because he's in a position to talk to them and put solutions on the table.
All right, let me ask you, where can people go, come, help that are in New Jersey that want to see this happen? What should people do, something tangible that they can do to put some energy toward a change in New Jersey?
Yeah, there's a couple different things that I would suggest. And the first is go to Jack's website and sign up, right? Volunteer right now, because in order to win in a battleground state, and I consider at this point New Jersey to be a battleground state, you really need to do three things. You got to have a great candidate who runs a great race. No substitute for that whatsoever. Secondly, you got to get out the vote. And third, you got to protect the ballot, right? And so from the RNC's perspective, working with the New Jersey Party and, of course, with Jack's campaign, we're all about getting out the vote and protecting the ballot. So we need people who are going to make phone calls, who are going to knock on doors, who are going to help us get literature out to the voters, and most importantly, have that ultra-critical 5-minute conversation with a friend or a family member, a colleague or a coworker to talk to them about why, even if they're a Democrat, they need to cross over and they need to vote for change. And the last thing that we need to do is protect the ballot. So I'm in New Jersey tonight. We've got an election integrity workshop where we are recruiting and training volunteers so that we can have Republicans in every single precinct anytime that a vote is cast or counted. We want to be in the room.
This is something that people can really do to get behind this effort. These are all great, tangible steps. And you know what I just noticed about this? You didn't even talk about money. You didn't talk with the usual thing. Oh, we got to have money. No, you're talking about things that people can do, actions that they can take to move the ball forward. Let me quickly ask you just your thoughts overall on what's happening across the Hudson River in New York City.
Well, I think right now, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, I mean, what we're watching right now is, Zoran Mamdani, who is the new face of the Democratic Party, who is leading that party even further to the left than they were in 2024. The Democrats across the country are doubling down on the same failed agenda that they lost on. They want inflationary spending. They want open borders. They want a weak America. And when we look at, where that party is going as a whole, it is really Zoran Mamdani is about where you're going to end up. And I think the fact that all of the rest of the Democratic Party is putting their arm around him, they are kissing his ring, they are following his lead. And, I don't think that the New York business community wants a communist. I don't think that the New York Jewish community wants somebody who is so rabidly anti-Semitic to be that mayor. But the Democrats in New Jersey in New York are going down that road. And I think that long term, that is going to lead that party even further away from mainstream Americans.
Wow. Well, Mr. Watley, again, Chairman Watley, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We're going to keep inviting you back at some point, and I want to get past this before we do it. I want to get past these New Jersey elections, the New York elections. Let's take care of this year first, but then we got to have eyes forward on 2026. We simply cannot afford to lose the House. We cannot do it. And I also want to talk with you at some point when you have some time about redistricting. And I want you to please help me explain to people what we see in Texas, what we're seeing around. People are complaining. They're trying to make this a racial issue. This is a political issue. And if people really understood how Democrats have been stacking the seats in this, they wouldn't be so surprised at the kind of pushback that's happening now in Texas. So if you'd like, we can just talk about these things in the future.
You can count on it. I'm very happy to do that. I think that the topics you're laying out are really critical topics for us. And I will just say this, in terms of 2026, we are there all day, every day already, making sure that we are building the infrastructure across this country, because it is going to be so critical for President Trump to have that Republican House, Republican Senate for 4 years, not just 2.
Thank you so much. Michael Watley, ladies and gentlemen, in New Jersey tonight. And you heard him. If you need to get involved with this governor's race, if that's what you want to do, there's an opportunity here to do some tangible things to help. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. Take care, both.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, now before the break, I mentioned that I wanted to talk with you about something serious. And I mentioned this Breonna Taylor situation. Now, I love Harmeet. I love Harmeet Dillon. I think she's just extremely wonderful. And I understand the position that they are laying out in the DOJ as to why they don't want this case pursued. This was part of the Biden initiative to really take it to law enforcement with the attitude that law enforcement was unfairly and deliberately trying to hurt African Americans especially. And so they were just going to make sure that this guy, he had to go through, I think, 3 different trials. There was a deadlock in one situation. He faces a maximum sentence of life in prison when he's sentenced next week. This is in Kentucky. And what the DOJ says, listen, there were 2 federal trials that were taken to finally get a unanimous verdict of guilt. She acknowledges he is a felon who was fired from his job 5 years ago, has already paid a substantial penalty for his actions. She said the jury's verdict will almost certainly ensure that defendant Hagerson never serves as law enforcement officer again. Also, will likely ensure that he never legally possesses a firearm again. He had been acquitted on state charges. Then the feds got in. His first federal trial ended in a mistrial, but they tried him again, and finally the guilty verdict came in. So what Harmeet Dillon is saying, okay, they really had to stretch to get a guilty verdict, and the DOJ now, with the new administration, doesn't think that that was the correct posture. And so they're asking for a mightily reduced sentence, 1 day on top of the time that he already served. Now, once again, this Breonna Taylor thing, and this thing is still an issue because there have been so many cases that are racially charged over the years. I grew up in St. Albans, Queens. Many of you who are old enough, right, might remember the case of Clifford Glover. And this happened when I was a kid, and I'll never forget it. was 9 years old, shot by Thomas Shea, police officer out of 103rd. Nothing happened to this guy. He walked, right? And 9-year-old boy. And they claimed the 9-year-old boy had a gun. That was never really proven. And what was this kid doing? He and his dad were out scrounging for bottles and stuff like that. They're trying to eke out a living, in other words. Then there was the case of the guy Torsney this guy, there was a black woman coming out of her house, Richmond Hill. He just murdered her. And they claimed he was a police officer. They claimed he had a mental breakdown or something. They sent him to I think Creedmoor, back when Creedmoor was Creedmoor. And a few years later, he was released. Nothing. And so you look what I'm trying to say is there is a long, long history of these incidents where black people in America and other people have felt the police are just getting away with murder, period, right? Now, it is also true that especially with all the BLM and everything else, the fact of the matter is that more crimes, more murders against blacks are committed by blacks. At one point, and I don't know whether these statistics are still valid, but at one point, the number one cause for death in younger black people was homicide, and the assailants were mostly black. Black lives didn't matter then. If you want to add the blacks that are killed in the womb, which is where Planned Parenthood has placed a lot of their centers in these minority neighborhoods, which, by the way, is in keeping with the mission of Planned Parenthood, which sprang from Margaret Sanger, who believed that black people should be wiped out because they were eugenics, it's called, because they were an inferior race. Oh, you're looking at me. You didn't know this, Jonas? This was the mindset of how Planned Parenthood began as an organization to help eliminate black people from ever procreating. That's your Democrat Party. That's Margaret Sanger, the hero of Planned Parenthood. So if you look at what happens in the womb to black children, the millions, and we are talking millions, there's another issue about black lives. But in this current age, and we're going to have to pick this up tomorrow. I feared we might run out of time. We might. But I want you to hear something about the way that this entire administration is being cast from black people that are intelligent, but the way that they see the world. And that's cut 7, and we'll have to get to it very quickly. Jonas, let's hear it.
Let's stop. This is a Make America White Again movement. Let's stop pretending it's something else. This isn't about border security. It's not about stopping crime. And it for damn sure isn't about patriotism. It's about keeping America white. And that's what the fear is. That's what the policy says. That's what the deportations, the bans, the books, the censorships, that's what they're all about. They've seen the numbers. They've read the census reports. And they know this country is changing, and they're terrified. Terrified of black people, terrified of Latinos, terrified of mixed race families, Asian immigrants, Muslims, and anyone else who doesn't look or speak or pray like they do. And instead of evolving, they're trying to erase. I mean, think about it. You think it's a coincidence ICE is ramping up all of their raids? You think it's a coincidence they're targeting immigrants while stripping education from our public schools? No, this is a strategic purge of culture, color, and memory. And if you think they'll stop at immigrants, you're dreaming. Black people, we've always been a target. Brown folks, Asian folks, indigenous people, this is about all of us. Even some of our white allies. If you're poor, queer, disabled, or outspoken, you're not safe either. They only want one kind of America. White, conservative, and obedient. And I want to say this, too, for all the people coming in my comments. I don't hate white people. I stand with good white people. But if you're white and still sitting quietly while all this is happening, you are part of the problem.
My friends, there is so much wrong with that. And so much that is misperceived about what's going on. And it's going to take a while before the full explanation of this is, if it is ever understood. But almost everything he said in terms of motivation, perspective, is not what is happening from the Trump administration at all. But this is the mindset that's out there, and we have to deal with this, folks. Well, some people would say we don't. We can ignore it. No, we have to deal with this. If this nation is ever going to be strong, we have to deal with this and get this done. This whole notion that's based on hatred, done. We got to go, I know. Petula Clark, this day, big day for her. Made her first UK television appearance. We got to go.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
1959 was the year Billie Holiday passed away in New York City. 43 years old. Cirrhosis of the liver. After years and years of alcohol abuse, not just alcohol abuse, drug abuse too. Had been swindled out of her earnings. Died with 70 cents in the bank. This song, for a lot of years, I sung Strange Fruit. Song Strange, which of course is about lynching, lynchings that were happening in America. The lynchings that were happening in America. We're going to finish I was talking to Jonas, and this conversation we brought up with that last person you heard. I'm going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this Saturday. We're going to talk about this Saturday. Anyway, it's time for us to go. We'll leave you with Billie Holiday today. American greatness. You know, Billie Holiday, John Coltrane, same day, different years. It's amazing. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, back tomorrow for the Friday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?